All right, so we are live in the Facebook group. Let's see what we have here. Takes a little while to warm up here. Let's go live on IG as well for this Q&A. Boom, boom, boom. We're going live on IG. Checking connection. We're going to go live on, let's go live here on the TikTok phone. All right. Okay. All right, here we go. So we are going live here right now. This is our Thursday Q&A where you can ask me anything sales related. Now you can, if you ask me like what my favorite food is at Thanksgiving, like that's probably not going to help you that much, although I'm flattered. It's not going to help you that much. But we're going live here on 7 different platforms. So when I go back and forth, we're going live here on our IG phone. Love you guys. You know, we have like 159,000, 160,000 followers on here. This thing has grown fast. I had never been on IG up until about 9 months ago, and got almost 160,000 of you guys over there. We're going to have a Q&A where you guys can ask me any questions. We're going live here on TikTok. We just got on here about 3 months ago. And we're also going live here on my desktop. We're going live using StreamYard. So we're going live in the Facebook group Sales Revolution. Got about 30-some thousand of you in there. Going live here in the Facebook business page. Got almost 80-some thousand of you on that one. Going live on LinkedIn and YouTube all at the same time. Now, this is a live Q&A. So in order for me to help you, when you have a question, if you just ask some random question and I don't know what industry you're coming from, I'm going to be guessing sometimes, okay? Because I'm going to have to give you more vague answers. So we train every industry on planet Earth, 158 industries and all the subsets of those at this point, okay? Over 360-some thousand salespeople in the last 4 years, all right? Every industry you can think of except underwater basket weaving. So if you sell underwater basket weaving, we cannot help you. But if you do sell to human beings, and your human beings do have problems and or emotional needs, and your solution solves those, then we are training salespeople and companies in your industry who are crushing it. So when you have a question, let me know what industry you're in. You can say, I sell medical device, and my question is this. Or I'm a network marketer, and my question is this. Or I'm a real estate agent, and my question is this. Or I sell business consulting, and my question is this. Or I sell, let's say, processing. I sell processing to companies, or I sell pest control, or I sell life insurance, or high ticket, whatever it is. Okay. The more you tell me about your industry, like what you sell, the more specific I can get on your questions right now. So I'm going to go back and forth. We got 115 of you here on IG. We got about 100 some of you here on TikTok. We've got 40 some of you here in the Facebook group here going live. So let me start with some questions here. All right. Okay, here's a good question right off the bat. Facebook user, how do I get past the gatekeeper? I just did a freaking reel on this board. This is a lucky day for you, Facebook user. I can't tell who you are because StreamYard doesn't let me know who you are. However, I just literally did a little reel on this. Now, if you want all of this, you're going to have to get into our virtual training courses because that's where we teach all this stuff. Little reels and little going live here and there. Like we just give you like little nibbles, little hors d'oeuvres. It's like 0.0001% of our training, okay? Compared to what our clients go through who are probably selling the same industry who make 5 times more than you, okay? So I'm going to give you a little hint right here on this board on how to get through the gatekeeper for your question, then we'll keep going. Now, if you're brand new to the Facebook group, or maybe you just started following me on IG or TikTok or YouTube or LinkedIn or whatever, my name's Jeremy Miner. If you don't know me, I'm just a boring dude, just a science geek. But I'm the chairman and founder of 7th Level. So we are a sales training organization that trains salespeople exactly like you watching me right now. Okay? Exactly like you. Salespeople like you. Sales professionals like you. Sales executives like you. Sales management like you. Coaches, consultants, entrepreneurs, business owners. And we teach you and your teams how to transform the way you sell by learning specific skilled questions and techniques that work with human behavior rather than work against it. We call those neuro-emotional persuasion questions. Now, we have to teach you the right tonality because if you just repeat questions off of a script, it's going to sound pretty bad. Okay. So we have to teach you the right tonality, the right delivery that triggers the prospect to pull you in engage, want to open up and go below the surface. Now, if you want to learn those same skills like thousands of our clients are doing right now, many of them are in the same exact industry you are in right now, and they are making 3 to 5 times more than you. It's not because they have green eyes or blue eyes or brown hair or black hair or white hair or red hair. None of that gives. Nobody cares. It's about their sales ability. It's about their questioning ability. It's about their tonality ability, advanced stuff that works with human behavior that sets them apart from you. That is all acquired. That's what we are teaching them. You want to have those same skills to make triple what you are now. I don't care if you're already making 20 grand a month. We have salespeople in your industry that probably make triple that or more, okay, after being trained. Then message me directly right now. I won't be able to respond until after this, but either me or someone on my team will respond. We'll probably get 200 or 300 messages. That's pretty normal. So either myself or several other people on my team will respond back to you with different training options if you want to start learning those type of skills to make that much money. Now, if you don't want to learn skills to make more money, you don't have to. You can just stay at the same income you're at now. It doesn't hurt us at all. We already have these advanced skills. Okay, so let's go back to this, all right? I'm going to start going down IG questions, TikTok questions, and the Facebook group and YouTube and LinkedIn, all right? So how do you get through the gatekeeper? This was a good question. Like I said, I just did the reel before this, all right? Now, let's say in this, now also I forgot to say, if you're on the live, post hashtag live in the comment section. So if you're on live, post hashtag live. If you're on the replay, post hashtag replay. And I want you to smash the heart button and smash the like button as many times as your poor fingers will let you do that. You better do that before I answer all these damn questions. I could be out golfing. It's a nice day here in Scottsdale, all right? So let's say that you walk into a business, okay? And I don't know the person that asked me this question if you're calling gatekeepers on the phone or if you're walking into the business. But in this example, let's say you're walking into the business and there's a secretary there, some type of admin person. Maybe you sell medical device or whatever you sell, business consulting, I don't know, okay? Processing services. And they're like, you walk in, she's sitting there, or he or she's sitting there, and you're like, yeah, I was wondering if you could possibly help me out for a moment, ma'am. And you act confused. See, most salespeople come in with their nice polo shirt on with the company name on there, and they're like, hi, I'm looking for George. I'm with XYZ company. And they're like, yeah, do you have an appointment with George? No. Does he know who you are? No. Well, give me your name and number, and I'll have him call you back if he's interested. And you're done. Stop doing what everybody else does. It doesn't work. It sounds canned. It sounds, well, it's not human, and it just doesn't work. So why would you keep doing something that works 1 out of 100 times? Like, stop the madness. You want to do something that actually works, okay? So when you walk in, you want to act confused because it triggers curiosity from the other person. Plus, it doesn't sound scripted. It's real. So you walk in, and plus, you don't know, right? Yeah, I was wondering if you could possibly help me out for a moment. Sure. How can I help you, sir? That's exactly the type of reaction you're going to get when you walk into a business. If you do that with the tonality and the facial expressions I just used, you got to practice it. Now, that's all in our virtual training center. Okay, that's all in our virtual training platform. All of our clients learn that. You're not going to learn all of that by just one live from me or a bunch of lives you see me on, because we don't teach all that advanced stuff on the lives because I've only got a couple minutes. All right. All right. She's like, yeah, sure. How can I help you? Well, and you go like this. Well, I'm not quite sure who I should be talking to, but I stopped by your store to see who would be responsible for looking at any possible hidden gaps or issues in your blank that could be causing you guys to blank. Who would that be? Well, that's probably Katie over in IT. Should I have you introduce me to her? See how I act confused? And watch 8 out of 10 times, they're going to be like, sure, I'll have you. Yeah, sure. I can take you right back there now. It's confusion right now. Let's say that you sold cannabis. I just did this example from a company we train that is a massive cannabis company. So they go into cannabis stores all over the nation. Okay. And they walk in, they cold call, and there's some type of person there, the cash register or somebody walking around. They do the exact same thing. And what they do is they help them put in more higher, like faster selling products, because a lot of these cannabis places, I guess, have stagnant inventory, which costs them tens of thousands of dollars a month in lost profits. Okay. So they kind of solve that with what they do, right? With their processes and their new products. So let me give you an industry specific example. Yeah, I was wondering if you could possibly help me out for a moment. Sure. Yeah. How can I help you, sir? What's going on? Well, and I'm not even quite sure who I should be talking to. I had stopped by your facility to see who would be responsible for looking at any, possible hidden gaps like in your stagnant inventory that could be restricting you guys from actually meeting your monthly revenue targets. Who should I be talking to about that? Well, that would probably be Katie over in distribution. Should I have you introduce me to Katie and watch what they do? Okay. All right. I gave you enough. That's just a little bit. Now, there's more you got to do there. Because what if she comes back? Sometimes they're going to come back and say, well, that's Katie, but do they know you're stopping by? What are you going to say then? Okay. So you got to learn the ins and outs. Now, we teach all of that in our virtual training center. Okay. Our virtual training center is like, gosh, I'm going to say like 34, 35 hours plus all of our group training sessions that we do every single week on advanced tonality, advanced objection handling, all that. I would say a good 2 or 3 hours of the virtual training platform out of that 30 some hours is specifically on cold calling. I hope that helped you. Okay, let's keep going here. Okay, Simon, this is an excellent question here. This is on the Facebook business page, I think. Hey, Jeremy, I'm curious to know how to keep motivated in sales every day. So, Simon, the only way you can stay motivated in sales is by having a skill set that gets you results. I hate to tell everybody on this. If you have a skill set that is triggering sales resistance because what you've been forced to learn from your company or the old sales gurus is triggering a lot of sales resistance, okay? You're taught to pressure people, or you've taught some consultative selling methods, and they're staying surface level with you, and you're getting a lot of objections at the end, like, I want to think it over. I need to do more research. I need to keep looking at other vendors. I need to keep looking around. I need to keep getting other quotes. You're not going to stay motivated. I hate to tell you that, because as a human being, when you go through so much rejection day in and day out, and you feel like you're in a boxing match with your prospects day in and out, you are going to burn out, and you will probably drop out of sales. I'm just being real with you. That's why sales has, I think, the biggest attrition rate of any profession in the world. Okay. So once you learn what we teach, neuro-emotional persuasion questioning, when you learn how to make selling collaborative, you working with the prospect to help them find and solve problems they didn't know they had, selling becomes very, very easy and very, very profitable. Okay. You can make 5 times more than what you are now. When you make 5 times what you're making more now, and you don't go through all that rejection in and day out and all that time. Now, it doesn't mean every prospect's going to buy, but at least they're going to look at your solution, and it might not fit into what they're looking for. That's not personal than getting the phone slammed in your face, the door slammed in your face, losing deals that you should be making, that probably our clients are making who sell in the exact same industry you are. So you learn the right skills, Simon, you're going to stay motivated every damn day. Okay. It's how you become a sales professional for decades, because you have the right skills. Simon, you want to learn those skills? Message me directly right now. Send me a message right now. I'll message you back. Okay. All right. Let's see. Adam. Adam on LinkedIn. What is your favorite? Okay. I got to laugh at this one. What is your favorite Thanksgiving dish? Oh, Adam, you're a funny guy. I like ham and sweet corn. I like ham and sweet corn and rolls, actually. Doesn't that sound weird? I don't hardly ever eat bread. So like, when I could eat bread, the carbs, I just want to eat them up all day. Okay, let's come over to LinkedIn. Then I'm going to come over to some questions. Then I'm going to come over to questions over here on TikTok too. Okay, we got a bunch of you guys here. Let me look here. Oh, shit. We probably got 100 questions over here just on this platform. 3 words advice for sales, entrepreneurs. I don't know what you mean by 3 words of advice. I don't know what you mean. 3 words, me giving you 3 words isn't going to help you sell anything. Should I sell solar or alarms? What's better? Dan, we train companies in both those industries. We have salespeople that make 30 grand a month in those industries, 50 grand a month. We even have salespeople in, especially solar. We have salespeople that make $80,000 to $100,000+ a month in commissions every single month, door to door or inbound leads. Okay. Both of those industries, you can make a lot of money. Alarm sales was the first industry I sold in. That was my first job, going door to door. First B2C job. My second sales career was in debt relief services, selling B2B, very big companies, all the way down to SMB though, too, big deals. And so 2B2C, 2B2B, but alarms was one of those. Both of those industries you can't go wrong with, but it's having the right skills. If you don't have the right skills, like if you don't like learn how to work with human behavior and the right questioning, the right tonality, those type of things, you're going to struggle in both of those industries. You learn that, you're going to make a lot of money in those industries. It's not like the average salesperson in solar or alarms makes 50 grand a month. It's only the salespeople who have the right skills that make that. Everybody else doesn't make anything. Okay, a lot of them quit because they don't have the right skills. So you want to learn the right skills, Dan, message me directly right now on IG, and either me or one of my surrogates will message you back, all right? What funnel did you 10X with? Oh, you're a ClickFunnels person. I love ClickFunnels. We're not really into the whole coaching thing or whatever. We train a lot of companies in the high ticket space, but we really wouldn't consider ourselves like a high ticket type of space. But we actually won an award that's even bigger than that. That's the 8-figure award. So when you make 8 figures in the year from one of your sales funnels. So we just won the $25 million award. So in one of our sales funnels, we made over 25 million in sales just last year in the last 12 months. So we're actually going to Orlando, Florida. Maybe I'll see you there. Is it Sandra? We're going to Florida next week, me and our CEO and our CRO and a few of our executives to accept that award. But we made well over 25 million in sales just in one sales funnel in the last 12 months. So we get like some $25 million big plaque with the cool record. I mean, the record thing is cool. Like the Russell Brunson guy has that stuff figured out. I love that. So hopefully that answered your question. But we've only been around for 4 years too. So getting a lot of fun. Okay. What's the best way to connect with people at conventions? Well, you go up and talk to them. And when they ask you, hey, what do you do for a living? Instead of you saying, oh, I'm a real estate agent, or I sell life insurance, or I sell cybersecurity, or whatever you do, because that doesn't mean anything to anyone. All they're going to do is, let's say you're a real estate agent, and they're like, what do you do for work? I think you're reliable photo masters. Let's say your name is Jim. Jim, yeah, what do you do for work? Because that always comes up. When you're talking at a conference or an event, what do people usually ask you? What do you do for a living? What do you do for work? And what do most people say? I'm a registered nurse, or I sell cars, or I sell whatever. And all that means, all they do is they just commoditize you and put you over here with all these other salespeople. They know you don't stand out. Okay. So you want to tell them how what you do helps other people. Now that's called a personalized introduction. Okay. So let's say, I'll give you something industry specific. Let's say if you sold, I wish I knew what you sell. I would have helped you come up with one right now. You got to tell me what you sell, guys. I'm just throwing mud against the wall if I don't know what you're selling, what industry you're in, especially if you're B2C or B2B, because there's a few little tweaks between both. But let's say if you sold franchises. We train a lot of companies that actually sell franchises, believe it or not. Okay. And a lot of times they'll have trade shows. All right. And people will come up to them and they'll start talking to them, what do you do? Blah, blah, blah. So what you can do is you want to tell them 2 to 3 problems that most people can identify with and how what you do helps them solve those problems. So you might say, Jeremy, what do you do for a living? Well, funny you should ask, Jim. It's pretty boring. But what I do is, how a lot of people nowadays sometimes get, frustrated with all like the job outsourcing going on. The higher cost of living with inflation, and they just don't feel like their employer is paying them what they're worth. And you nod your head and they're like, oh my God, that's me. Yes, that's me. I have a job too. Well, what I do is I help people like that. I help executives like that set up and start and scale their own franchise with our parent company. So they can really start having more time with their family and really make more money. But what do you do for work, Jim? Well, I do this, but tell me about this franchise. Like, how do I get involved? Like, it triggers instant curiosity, because if you're selling franchises to corporate executives, what is probably their main problem? They probably work too many hours. They probably don't feel like they're getting paid what they're worth. And they're scared about all the freaking crazy prices and inflation going up, right? So those are 3 things on the top of their mind all the time. So when I nonchalantly say, this is what I do, a lot of people get frustrated by X and Y and Z, and I nod my head. They're like, God, that's me. Yes, that's what they're thinking. Well, what I do is I help them, and then you go over how you help them solve that problem. And then you follow it up with a question at the end of that. Hopefully that helped you. Okay, let's go with the TikTok question here. I'm sure we got a lot of people here on TikTok that are asking questions here. Let's see here. Let's get a good one. We got a bunch here. What's the worst sales tip you've ever heard? You're probably not going to like it because I know you guys have all been shoved down your throat. And that is, you got to be really, really enthusiastic when you're talking to your prospects. You know, my background's behavioral science in college, and I can tell you with a surety that when you are overly enthusiastic to a prospect, all it does is it triggers our brain, the reptilian part of our brain, to go into what's called fight or flight mode. It just does. That's just what the data shows. Okay. If you know anything about behavioral science or human psychology, hell, when you go up to a salesperson at a car dealership, and we train lots of car dealerships that crush it now, that we've kind of fixed this problem, and they're really excited to see you. Hey, welcome into the dealership today. How can we help you? Just looking, right? It's just an instant reject reaction that you're going to do. So you want to be more relaxed. Now, do you want to be excited about what you sell? Yes, but you keep that to yourself, because the moment you show that external enthusiasm to the prospect and you start talking fast is the moment that most people start to emotionally shut down, unless they're just a lay down sale. But you know, you don't have any lay down sales, especially with the recession coming up, probably this fall or early winter. You're going to get far fewer lay downs, and it's going to get much harder. So you want to come across more collective, okay, more relaxed, more detached, more neutral. You're not quite sure you can even help yet. You don't know any information. Maybe you're better off staying with who you already have. When you do that, it typically triggers people to let their guard down. We call that disarming the prospect. That's called the ABDs of selling. I hope that answered your question there. Okay, let's see. Somebody said, so hysterical. Ha ha, there you go. Does it work for prospects who do know what their needs are? And playa. Well, here's the problem. Psychologically, just so you're aware, most of your prospects don't know what they really need when you first start talking to them. That's why, let me repeat this. That's why you can never sell to just the needs of the prospect, because most prospects don't really know what they fully need when you first start talking to them. They don't know what their real problems are. Now, they might know they have a problem, but they don't know how bad that problem really is. Or maybe they don't understand the consequences of what happens if they don't do anything about solving the problem. Now, because I know all of you have been consultative selling, sell to the needs. But the problem is that most of your prospects don't know what they need. So if you come in and say, oh, John, what's 2 challenges you're having? And they're like, here's our 2 challenges. And what do you feel like you need? And they tell you what you need. Then you start going to your presentation. You are missing so many sales that you could be making, my friend. And that's to everybody, right? You don't sell to the needs. You sell to the real problems that your questioning skills help you and the prospect find. That's what you sell to. That is exactly what you sell to, okay? Now, like I said, most of your prospects don't know what they need. So when you go through the right questioning with the right tonality, because it can sound scripted, because they're just going to emotionally shut down. You have to bridge from question to question, verbal cues, verbal pausing. We teach all that in our virtual training courses and our group training with our trainers and myself. Not only can you help the prospect find one problem, but now you can help them find 2 problems, maybe 3 or 4 or 5 other problems that they didn't realize they had. And when you start to help them find 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 other problems, you build a much bigger gap. You give them more reasons in their mind about why they need to change their situation. And because all these other salespeople are selling to the needs and not selling to the real problems, you have a competitive advantage to win that account. So I hope that answered your question, because the bigger the gap in your prospect's mind from where they are, we call that their current state or current situation, compared to where they want to be, we call that their objective state, their future. The bigger that gap, that can only be determined by your questioning skills, not you telling them, because that's just going to go in one ear out the other, but by your questioning skills that allows them to see how big that gap really is, the more sales you will make. Okay, that's why you never sell to just the needs of the client, because initially they don't know what they need. So if you come up to them and in the first 5 minutes, what's your type of budget for this type of thing? Well, how the hell would they know what their budget is when they don't even really know what their real problems are yet? That's why you'd never ask that. That's why I don't believe in BANT. It doesn't work. When I sold B2B, I outsold everybody in my industry 10-1. They were all stuck on BANT. Well, I was stuck on helping them find their real problems. And that's why I made a few $1 million a year in commissions while they're all making $100,000. You make a couple $1 million a year in commissions over people who make 100 or 200 grand. It's a lot easier to sell for sure. Hopefully that answers. I'm being sarcastic now. I'm sorry, man. Okay, that was a good question, though. I appreciate the question. Christ Marie, how would you go about selling weight loss programs? Well, that's a good question. We train lots of people in that industry, but I mean, that's a 3-hour training. Like, so let me give you just some generic advice here in like 2 minutes. Look, you want to learn these skills, guys. It's really easy. You got to get into advanced training. You're not going to triple your sales by just a Q&A session once a week with me, right? I love you guys, but let's just be realistic. Okay. You want to learn advanced skills, message us directly and we can get you those advanced skills. There's a reason why we have well over 9,000 plus testimonials in the last 29 months. There's a reason why Inc. magazine ranked us the fastest growing sales training company the last 2 years running on the Inc. 5,000 list. Okay, we're right there. It's not us saying it. That's them saying it. You got to turn in your revenue. 7 million companies, 6 to 7 million companies apply per year. They take the top 5,000. I think we were ranked last year number 391 overall of any company in the U.S. Number 1 ranked sales training company. There's probably a reason why. Okay. So anyways, I'm coming back to you. Sorry, I'm going off here. So how do you sell weight loss? Well, what is the problem of the people you're selling to? What's their biggest problem? They're overweight. They're out of shape. And when you're overweight and out of shape, what are the consequences if you don't do anything? Well, you start to put a lot of weight on your organs, on your heart, on your lungs. And then you start having a lot of medical issues and you die 20 to 30 plus years before you're supposed to, if you're lucky, right? So it's the same thing. You learn connecting questions. We teach all that in our virtual training courses. You learn problem awareness questions to help them find out what their real problems are rather than you telling them what the real problems are, because that's just biased. You're the salesperson. It's going to go in one ear out the other. You learn situation questions to help you and them find out what their real situation is. You learn solution awareness questions to help them see what their future is going to look like once this weight is gone and they feel better, right? So you have to get good at questioning. You have to get good at problem finding. We teach all that in our virtual training courses. I wish I could give you a lot more. I mean, that question is a good question, but that's like a 5-hour training question. Okay. So you want to learn how to sell a lot of weight loss programs because we train, I'd say thousands of people in that space too. It's probably one of the top 25 industries we train in. Then just message us directly. We have all those scripts already done. It's all done. Okay. How do we get referrals? Well, it depends on if you sell B2C or B2B, because if you're in a transactional sale and you're selling B2C, I think that's Anna on IG. That's a good question. If you sell B2C and it's a transactional sale where you make the sale, never talk to them, again, you're going to want to do that right after you make the sale and you're still there in their home or on the phone or whatever. If you're in B2B, and let's say you're selling SaaS or you're selling just, cybersecurity or something or medical device equipment, and you want them to use it first, right? To get a result, then come in and ask for referrals. Typically, we train on all that. I'll just give you a brief overview, but like all of that is in our virtual training courses and our group training. Literally all of it there. Every single question you guys have asked me times 10,000 is all back in our virtual training courses. Everything from A to Z. Okay, B2C, B2B, it doesn't matter. So I might ask him at the end of that. Now, John, I appreciate the opportunity that we had to help you guys, solve XYZ problem. Tell me this, if I could possibly ask, who would you possibly know that I would say this. I appreciate the opportunity we had to help you. And I'm not saying the right tonality. I'm trying to speed up here. You'd want to slow down. The opportunity to be able to be a help to you guys. In your mind, how do you feel like we've helped you the most? Well, you've helped us do this and you've helped us do that. And it gets them back in that mood of how we've helped them. And then you're going to ask, so with that being said, who would you know that might possibly be having some of those same challenges that you were having? Well, I'm not really sure. Well, if you really thought about it, Jane, who do you think would have those same problems? Well, come to think of it, I was talking to Kelly the other day and Anna, they own this type of company and blah, 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 blah. So that's how you start that conversation. Okay. And we actually have all that in our NEPQ Black Book of Questions as well, and the virtual training course. All right. So then at that point, I'll give you a few more hints and then I'm going to go on, but you want more details, just message me directly. Okay. We have all that. So then at that point, once the prospect is like, well, I could, this person and that person. Okay. But hold on, Jim and Kelly, why do you feel like we could possibly help them though? Well, I feel like you could possibly help them because of A and B and C. Well, in which way would it be best to possibly reach out to them? Well, I think it'd be good if you called them or if you emailed them or whatever. They're going to tell you a way. Then you say, Well, would it help them if maybe you communicated to them first that we might possibly call, just so we're not like cold calling or something, and you act confused? You're like, oh, that's a really good idea. Yeah, I'm going to call them. So when you call them, what do you think you should say? Now, why would you want to ask that question? Because what if they call and they're like, oh, you got to check out this company. They've got X and Y and Z. It's so awesome. And they're all super salesy and they talk about features and benefits. The prospect's going to be like, no, don't have them call me. What do you think you should say? Well, I would talk about this. I talk about that. That's some good ideas. Can I make a suggestion though? Sure. Go ahead, Jeremy. What if you talked with them about some of the same problems and challenges that you were having in XYZ area and how we helped you solve those to get XYZ result? Would that possibly help them more if you focused on that? That come to think of it, that's a really good idea. Well, what's your time frame on getting a hold of Jim and Anna, just so I know when I should actually call them? Now, there's a little bit more than that. That's important. You got to know what to say when you actually call the referral instead of going into pitch mode. But I gave you enough there to get you started. But you want to know a lot more than that, because that's like nothing. That's like give you a little hors d'oeuvre, not even an hors d'oeuvre, like a little cracker there, like a little goldfish, and the kids goldfish there. Then just message me directly. You can get trained on all that so you don't lose any of those sales. Okay. We got people, I'm assuming in your industry, that probably making 5 times maybe what you're making. Okay. All right. Let's go over here. Matt, this is an interesting question. Do you like one call closes or 2 touch? Well, it just depends. Like, you're not going to typically, if you're in B2B sales, unless you're selling to like a laundromat with one business owner that's just their only store, you might be able to probably close in a 1 call close. But if you're selling to SMB, especially enterprise, that's not a 1 call close, probably not even a 2 call close. Best case scenario, probably a 4 call close. All right. Depends on the industry. There are some faster. There's some that take a little bit longer depending on what you're selling. But B2C, I'm assuming you're in B2C. That's because that's a B2C question. It just depends on the price point. If it's like $1,000 product or 5,000 or 10,000, maybe even 15, more than likely going to be a 1 call close. But if it's like a 30 or 50 or higher 1,000 type of product or service, probably going to be a 2 touch. Like, let's say if you sold home improvement, like let's say if you sold pools, I'm just throwing something out there. You said pools, or you sold kitchen remodeling. That's not going to be a 1 call close. Probably going to be a 2 call close, because you got to help them design the pool. Let's just talk about pools. You got to help them design the pool, right? You got to put together a proposal, right? So that's probably a 2 to 3 call close there. So you initially, they call in, book an appointment. They have a salesperson come out to their home to give them a quote unquote quote or bid, which if it's a pool, you're usually not going to do that on the first visit. You're going to come out, discovery call, pull out the really not even really problem, but more of the emotional need of what's behind them even wanting a pool, because that kind of solves more of an emotional need. It doesn't really solve a problem necessarily. It just depends. Okay. So you get that information, you pull out the pain, and then typically you might invite them to the showroom after you design it. You go through the design, and then you go through the proposal and you close it. So that's in a 2 to 3 step process. So it depends on what you sell. So you have to adjust depending on what industry you're in. That's really the best answer I can give you on that. Okay. Let's keep going here. Let's see here. Okay. Hey, Jeremy, thank you for all your value. I'm following the new model of persuasion for life coaching, and results are great. Well, are you one of our clients, or are you just trying to figure it all out on your own through like basic reels? Because you're not going to make what our clients make who are in your industry without being in our training, our virtual training for our clients. This is not training. These little reels and stuff you guys see of me of 30 seconds or 60 seconds is not going to triple your income. I hate to tell you that. However, even though new clients commit, sometimes they do not show up and take away the time slot for someone else who has a track record of showing up. I typically charge a full session fee for no shows for existing clients, by the way. So I don't live coaching. Would you take a payment on the initial call when scheduling? It just depends. But here's the problem. People don't show up if you don't give them a reason to show up. Now, I'm not talking about like, if you show up, I'll give you a new iPhone. That's salesy and corny, and that's stupid. You lose money. What I'm talking about is building a gap in their mind. So on that initial call, you would take them through connecting questions, situation questions, at least problem awareness questions, where they start to see they have a problem. When you're able to help them see what their problems are, they're more than likely going to show up because there's an end result in their mind that now I see that I clearly have this problem and how it's affecting me, and I want to solve said problem. So they actually show up. If you don't do that and just call and schedule an appointment, there's no reason for them to show up because life gets in the way, and then they don't value your appointment as a priority to them. That's why they don't show up. But if you take them through at least problem awareness questions, connecting situation, problem awareness, maybe even a consequence question, you're going to have 80 to 90% that actually show up. If you don't do that, your percentages are going to be very low, especially if you book it out more than 3 or 4 days. Just behavioral science 101. You book out something more than 3 or 4 days, the likelihood of that person showing up is a lot less likely than 1, 2, or 3 days. Hell, you book a doctor's appointment out 2 weeks, half the time I forget those, man. I got to go to the cardiologist. They book it out a month later. I'm not going to remember that unless it's freaking on my calendar, okay? And it pulls up. All right. Let's see here. Jeremy, what is the number one thing that you must have or do in selling to be successful? Learn the right skills. Number one thing. Number one freaking thing. Michael Jordan says it best. You can take 1,000 jump shots a day, but if your technique is off, if you've been taught the wrong technique, you are still going to suck at basketball. And the same is true in selling. If you are using old, outdated, traditional selling skills that trigger sales resistance or repackaged as consultative selling, and you're just surface level, because that's what consultative selling is. I've been through 160 different courses. I've read over 1,400 books. I was ranked in the top 50 salespeople by the Direct Selling Association out of 108 million salespeople, top earning salesperson. There's a reason why I got there. It wasn't because I got all the pink leads. I can promise you that, okay? It's because when you learn skills that work with human behavior, selling becomes very easy. When you learn skills that work against human behavior, that keep your prospects surface level, you're going to really struggle in sales. So it's your skill level. Once you acquire the skill level, or while you're acquiring the skill level, you go out and use it. You have to do something. You can't just be a bookworm and expect to sell a bunch. And reading books, you only retain 3% of that anyways. Books aren't going to do anything. 99% of sales books are just theory. And most of the theory is old, outdated theory repackaged. I've got like 700 or 800 books just on this bookshelf. Okay. The others are at my house. You're going to learn 3%. You're going to retain 3%. And most books, like I said, are just theory. They're not going to teach you advanced tonality and verbal pause, word of verbal pause and verbal cues and why you're doing it, certain inflections in your body language. Like nobody's going to teach that in those books. Most of them wouldn't even know what that means. I'm in solar. Do you like a 1-call close or 2-call close? Well, it depends on what you're doing. If you're selling like inbound leads on Zoom, typically you can do a 1-call close in solar. But if you're going door to door, typically what most companies that we train, because I've got salespeople in solar make $100,000 a month in commissions, some of them more now, that used to make $8,000 a month in commissions, okay, which is not bad, but nothing compared to $100,000 a month in commissions. It's not their industry, it's just their skill level, okay, the advanced skill level. But most of them do a 2-call close because what they do is they go set the appointment, or they'll have somebody set the appointment for them, like they have door knockers that set appointments, and then they come in and close. So if you're setting your own appointments, that's really a 2-step close. But if somebody is setting the appointments for you and you're going in, it would be a 1-call close. Okay. All right. Okay, Adam, in life insurance, what's the best question early on to let the client know you're on the same team? I don't know what you mean by let the client know you're on the same team. You let the client know you're on the same team by let me put it this way, by disarming them to let their guard down. Okay. So let's say that because we train tons of companies in your space. It's probably one of the top 5 industries we actually train. I just did a keynote for a huge company, Quility, a couple weeks ago in Denver. There were 6,000 agents there. Okay, massive Denver Convention Center. It was awesome. I love that company. Great company. But anyways, so for your industry, let's say you're calling a lead that's like a week old or a day old or whatever. They responded to some ad about getting mortgage protection. I'm just throwing something out there. Mortgage protection, life insurance. So when a spouse dies, the mortgage is completely paid off, so the family's financially protected. Or, worst case scenario, if they don't qualify for the mortgage being paid off, they're at least qualified to make the payments on the mortgage for a year or two, so they can sell it at the highest value instead of short selling or anything like that. They can't afford it with the loss of income. So an early frame that you'd use in your connecting questions, Adam. Now, there's not just one connecting question. There's about 4 or 5 you ask for your industry. Now, we train on all that in our virtual training courses as well. I don't have time to right at your sales structure here. It's already in all in our virtual training centers and our group coaching. All of it's there. Literally, you'd be making 5 times as many sales you are if you're one of our clients. Otherwise, you're guessing. Let me give you an example. So early on, you'd be like, yeah, so John, there'd be a couple connecting questions first, okay? And then you say, yeah, the first part, okay, so John, the first part of this call, it's pretty basic. You downplay it. Because when you downplay it, people tend to relax. The stress, the sales pressure goes out of the room. When you get excited and upplay it in the beginning, sales pressure builds, resistance comes up. That's why you guys get a lot of I want to think it over objections at the very end, or I need to talk with my spouse in the insurance space. That's exactly why you get those, okay? So what you want to do, yeah, so the first part of this call, Jane, it's pretty basic. It's really more for us to find out kind of what you have in place now as far as, assets, savings, possible policies that would pay for the mortgage and your other expenses for when you do pass away, compared to kind of the expenses you have that might need to be covered when you pass, to make sure for us to kind of look what that gap looks like, to make sure we can actually help. And then, towards the end of the call, if you feel like this, it might be what you're looking for, we can talk about possible next steps. Would that help you? Now, did you hear my tone in that way? It's very relaxed. It's low key. It's collective. It's helping. It's empathy. Now, notice what I said at the very end. I didn't say, and at the end of the call, if you're ready to sign up, because this is for you, I'm going to show you how to pay. That's way too assumptive, and you are going to trigger a massive amount of sales resistance if you ever do that. So what I did at the end is much more neutral. So, and towards the end of the call, if you feel like it, that it might be what you're looking for, we can talk about possible next steps. Would that help you? Sure, yeah, that would help me. Nobody's going to say, nope, that would not help me looking at possible next steps. Nobody's ever going to say that. So that's called a status frame. It lets them know that there's an agenda to the call, but you're not doing a frame where you're like, at the end of the call, it's either going to be a yes, this is a good fit, or no, it's not a good fit. We don't need any think it overs. Is that fair? That's not... That's so bad. I just, when I hear people say that, I'm like, you wonder why you're not making a lot of money. It's because of what you're saying. All that does is it triggers sales resistance, where they know what you're doing at the end is trying to close them down. So they emotionally shut down. So when you're asking your questions, they just stay surface level with you. Couple word answers here and there. And then, it sounds good. I just need to keep looking around. I need to think it over. That's why you guys lose so many sales. You don't have to lose so many damn sales. Once you learn NEPQ, selling becomes very, very easy in your industry. Got tons of life insurance salespeople in your industry, Adam, that make 30 grand a month, 40 grand a month, 50 grand a month, 60 grand a month, 100 grand a month, more that even make more than that. Okay. That a year ago, we're barely making a few grand a month. I'm dead serious. Okay. You want to learn those skills? Message me directly right now. Okay, Kevin, what are your thoughts on the book, Never Split the Difference? I think it's a good book for negotiations for sure. I think there's a few phrases you can use in there for sales. It's not going to teach you an entire sales methodology, though. But I do believe it's a good book, especially for negotiations. I actually do like that book. It was one of the better ones for sure, in my mind. I read it a couple times about a year ago. Let's see. Okay. I'm an acquisitions manager, aider in real estate wholesale. How do I handle prospects feeling uncomfortable with answering questions that have nothing to do with selling the home? Such as an example, John, if you were able to sell the home, how would that be different than it is now? How would that make you feel? Well, Adrian, it's all how you ask the question. If you sound like a scripted robot and you're not bridging from questions to questions, if you're not making verbal cues that lead into the next question and clarify and probe, then they're not going to open up to your questions because they feel like you're interrogating them. So if you're one of our clients, you need to get on the group training calls where we teach you advanced tonality and how to bridge from question to question to make sure it's natural. Because anytime a prospect gets defensive from a question is because it sounds scripted. It doesn't sound natural. So I don't know if you're a client or not. I can't really tell if you are or not, but if you're not a client, you probably want to learn that. So message me directly. If you are, for some reason, you need to get on our group training calls. Hopefully you're at least in our advanced NEPQ 3.0 training or advanced inner circle where we teach all that. Because if you can't bridge from question to question, it doesn't open up the prospect and they will always get defensive because they'll feel like you're interrogating them. Okay. Hopefully that answered your question. Let's see. Solar, would you use a problem statement in solar? No, it's a version of it. We teach all that in our virtual training courses. I don't have time to go through all that today. That's like at least a 20-minute training I'd have to do for you now. But get into our virtual training Facebook user because we teach all that. That's actually really easy. It's just a door approach. It's kind of a version halfway of a problem statement / door approach. Jolanda from YouTube. This is an interesting question. How do I stay motivated when I'm not getting contacts and open doors that I need? How do I get out of my head and feelings? I hate to tell you this. You're only going to get out of your head and feelings once you have the right skills. You'll never get out of your head and feeling. You'll never have confidence without the right skills, period. If you're getting rejected day in and day out, if you're getting objections every single call, you're never going to have collective confidence to go out and close, and you'll eventually get out of selling. It's just human behavior 101, okay? Human beings do not like going through rejection day in and day out where people are not interested. We already have somebody for that. Get lost. We don't need it. You go through that day in and out, you're going to get burned out. So you have to learn how to disarm your prospects. You have to learn how to get them to engage. You have to learn how to get them to become open to what you're offering, not by some, sleazy sales line, but by asking the right questions at the right time with the right tonality. Okay. You want to learn those skills, post hashtag NEPQ in the comments section and somebody can reach out to you, because you don't have to go through and lose all those sales that our clients are making who are in the same exact industry that you probably are in right now. Okay. All right. Should I leave voicemails for outbound calls? Jolanda, hopefully that helped you. Hopefully I showed you some empathy by saying that. Okay. I'm always real with people. I'm not going to give you hype and BS of stuff that doesn't work. I hated when sales trainers used to do that with me, 15, 20 years ago when I was early in my career. Should I leave voicemails for outbound calls, and what should that look like? Life and health insurance age leads. Give them some of that Jeremy juice. Well, like I said, I'll give you a little bit here, but we teach all that in our virtual training courses. It's all literally right there. How many sales are you losing because you don't know how to leave the right voicemail to get them to call you back, and you don't know the tonality? Is it worth it for you to keep losing those deals? I don't know. Maybe you like losing deals. I don't like losing deals. Get into our virtual training courses. Message me directly. For life insurance, outbound call. Yeah. Jane Taylor, this is just Jeremy Miner. It looks like you had filled out a form a few weeks ago requesting different quotes about possible coverage to pay your mortgage and other expenses for when you do pass away. And I just had time to get back to you to see if we could help. Now I'll be available here for just a little bit today. I have a lot of appointments, so you can call me on this number, 555-655-4555. When you call back, I'll just have a couple of questions for you to see which we could possibly get you qualified. And like I said, if I don't answer, just leave a message and I'll do my best to get back to you today. Talk to you then. Just a standard voicemail. Okay. Now there's a lot more to that, because what if they don't call back from that? What do you say in the second day? Not the exact same thing. It's tweaked. What do you say the third day? Not the same thing you said the first or second day. It's tweaked. What do you leave on a final message? You got to learn all the ins and outs if you want to be a massive producer and start making 20, 30, 40, 50 grand a month plus in your industry. We have thousands of people in your industry that make that every single freaking month, but they're clients. They know what to do. If you don't know what to do, how can you expect to make that much money? You can't. Message me directly. Good Lord, you don't have to lose sales. Easy to sell if you have the right skills. Let's see here. How can I use an NEPQ when trying to find leads door to door for solar? My biggest challenge is being able to meet them for the first time and stay away from getting sales resistance. The Gore Machine on YouTube. Well, I'll give you just a basic overview here because I can only take a couple more questions because I'm a bit over time. Okay, I've got a meeting 2 minutes ago, actually. They're probably yelling at me there in the conference room. So when you knock on the door, so door-to-door sales, there's a lot of things going on in the prospect's mind. So if you do door-to-door, if you cold call, you got to realize there's just stuff going on in the prospect's mind very quickly. Within the first 5 to 12 seconds of any conversation or sales action you're in, your prospects are picking up on your verbal and nonverbal cues. Subconsciously, we can't help it as a human, based on your tonality and what you are saying or asking, that triggers them to either become curious enough to engage or triggers them to, like you said, go into fight or flight mode with sales resistance. So because you haven't learned that yet, probably 95% of the doors you're knocking on are throwing out sales resistance. You don't have to go through that every day, the Gore machine. We have salespeople that make $100,000 a month in your industry. It's not like they started with this making 100. They're probably making 2 to 5 or 10, if that. All you have to have is the right skills. So when you knock on the door, I'll give you a little hint, but get into our training. So good Lord, why do you want to get rejected every day when our clients who sell exactly what you do are literally working 4 to 5 hours a day, making 50 to 100 grand a month? They just know what to say to reduce sales resistance, okay, and let the prospect in, the trust. So when you knock on the door, you don't want to be like this, like up in the grill close. Hi, John. Yeah, my name is XYZ. I'm with XYZ company, and we're in your neighborhood. Slam. Every door-to-door salesperson says some version of that. So you sound like everybody else. Instantly, when you sound like a salesperson, the prospect treats you like a salesperson, and they try to get rid of you very quickly, right? So when you knock on the door, you want to be on the side. You want to have a clipboard right here. My first job was selling home security systems door-to-door when I was 21, maybe early 22. I think I just turned 22, 21, late 21, early 22. I can't remember. When I was 21, 2 years old in college. Okay. So this would be like 2001, something like that. And I got a job selling home security systems door to door. They would tell me to dress up. I went out there, did it. None of that worked. And I started learning like, hey, if I act like a salesperson, the prospect treats me like a salesperson. So I don't want to act or look like a salesperson. I want to look like something that is less threatening. So what I did is I wore a pair of khaki shorts, just a regular polo, didn't even have the company name on it. I had the name badge off to the side if they wanted to see it. I wore like the old white grandpa New Balance shoes. You know what I'm talking about? The really comfy ones. They just look old and just, wear black or white ones. I'd wear probably white because the black ones are so hot with the sun, especially knocking in summer. So I'd wear like gray or white ones or brown ones or some off color. And then I had a tape measure on the side. Okay, salespeople don't walk around with tape measures. And then I wore a construction vest, either an orange one or a neon green one. You know the construction vest you see on the side of the road? That doesn't sound like a salesperson, look like a salesperson. And when I knocked on the door, I had a clipboard like I was filling out a survey. They could have thought I was a construction worker, a meter reader, doing a census. I was less of a threat. So instantly, the sales resistance was removed there. Now, if I had gone into my pitch, like most door-to-door salespeople, it would have came back in 5 seconds, but you don't do that. So let's say you're selling solar. You're looking up probably at the roof because that's where the panels have to go, right? You're checking it out. What type of roof do they have? So when they come to the door, knock on the door, you're probably about 4 to 6 feet back, less threatening, okay? They come to the door, they peek their head out like, yeah, how can I help you? Yeah, are you, and you don't even look at them, you're looking at the roof with solar. Yeah, are you guys the homeowners here? Oh, yeah, we're the homeowners. What's going on? Just that alone triggers curiosity. That's what I'm talking about when I say the confused old man. Then we have some haters out there. Oh, confused old man. That's so stupid. Well, when I sold alarm systems, I made over $100,000 a month. Confused old man probably works, doesn't it? I guess you can act all confident and salesy and hardly make any money. Or you can use techniques that trigger curiosity that get your prospects to want to engage. And then you can laugh at people like us as we make all the commissions. Choice is yours. Okay, so message me directly. That little technique right there made me a ton of money. Okay. All right, everybody. I hope that helped. I'm a little bit over time. I had in a meeting 6 minutes ago. They're probably yelling at me to come in the conference room. Look, you want to start making more money than you are now. Because if you're going to call the same amount of leads, why not make 2 to 3 times more than what you are now? I don't know. Call me crazy. You want to start making your first 10 grand a month in commissions? Message me directly right now. If you want to start making 15 grand a month in commissions or 20 grand a month in commissions or 25 grand a month in commissions in your industry you're in right now, or let's say you're already there. How do you go to 30 or 40 or 50 or 60,000 plus a month in commissions in your industry right now? Because I can assure you, we are training salespeople in your industry right now that are making those amounts of commissions consistently every single month. If you want to make those, message me directly right now. If you're on IG, message me directly right now. If you're on TikTok, message me directly right now. If you're on LinkedIn here, message me directly right now. If you're in the Facebook group, message me directly right now. If you're on my Facebook business page, 70-some thousand of you there, message me directly right now. If you're on their YouTube channel, just got verified there on YouTube finally, message me directly right now. Actually, no, YouTube, you can't message me. You have to post #NEPQ, okay? Or just join the free Facebook group. Now, listen, guys, if you guys can't figure out how to message somebody on DMs, it's okay. It took me a while to learn how to. I'm old. I'm in my early 40s. Then what you want to do in the comments section is go down and post hashtag NEPQ. So go down and post hashtag NEPQ. If you spell it wrong, we won't slap you around too much. Just joking. I'm sarcastic. Hashtag NEPQ, either myself or somebody on my team or my surrogates will message you back different training options. You can even book a call with one of our team members. We have over 25 different sales training programs. It all depends on your industry you're in, what type of commissions you're making now compared to what you want to make. Once we learn what those things are and what you're saying and asking that's keeping you down here, then we can recommend the right sales training course, virtual training course, plus the group training that's going to help you get there the quickest. All right. So guys, love you. We won't have anything tomorrow. I will be back next week before we go to Florida to accept that big award from ClickFunnels, the $25 million award or whatever that is. $25 million and one sales funnel in 1 year. Did a lot more than that, actually. Thanks, everybody. I'm sorry if I didn't get all your questions. We probably had at least a few hundred questions on the 6 different platforms we're going live today. Thanks, everybody. Also, join the Free Sales Revolution group. If you haven't joined our free Facebook group, that's mainly where we go and we do more, little hors d'oeuvres in there. We don't really go live that much on TikTok or IG, maybe once a week. So you can go to salesrevolution.pro. So go to salesrevolution.pro. salesrevolution.pro. I'll even type it in here. I don't know where everybody's at today. Everybody's off work on our DM team. Salesrevolution.pro. And when you join the free Facebook group, you'll get a message from somebody on the DM team, and they'll message you a free training called the NEPQ 101 mini course. It's just some different questions you can ask for different sales situations that'll help you. So go to salesrevolution.pro. So if you're on TikTok, write it down, salesrevolution.pro, salesrevolution.pro, LinkedIn, YouTube, salesrevolution.pro, salesrevolution.pro. Thanks, everybody. Somebody here, man, I know what the difference is between NEPQ 2.0 versus 3.0. What should I choose? Well, it depends on what you want to make. 2.0 is an 11-hour virtual training course, but that's it. There's no group training with that. And that's overview. That's a start. Our advanced 3.0, that's 33 hours of virtual training, far more advanced, plus 4 group training calls a week with our team. Advanced tonality, advanced verbal pausing, advanced verbal cues, advanced clarifying questions, advanced probing questions, okay? Advanced objection handling. So most of our clients start in NEPQ 3.0 because we even have training calls each week just on advanced objection handling, where you go in and I don't know what your biggest objection is. Let's say you lose a lot of sales every week because of your prospect says, I want to think it over, and you lose a lot of those sales. So you would just bring that objection to the call, and whoever's running that call with our sales trainers, okay, we have some sales trainers that made over $1 million a year in commissions that were our clients that later applied to work for us as sales trainers, okay? Make a lot of money here, right? So what they're going to do is you're going to come to that call. Actually, Marco Cortese, our chief revenue officer, actually trains on that call. You're going to bring that objection to that call with what industry you're in, and they're going to show you how to overcome that objection and make it industry specific for you. And they're going to role play with you until you learn it yourself. So that means when you get on the call the next day and a prospect brings up that objection, instead of you losing that sale, that means you actually make the sale. So that right there is probably one of the biggest reasons why most of our clients, probably 80%, start in NEPQ 3.0. 2.0 is really for people who just couldn't get any funding together, that just couldn't get anything together. 3.0 is where you're going to see thousands of our testimonials come from. 3.0 and advanced inner circle. So hopefully that answered your question there on YouTube. All right, everybody, I got to get out of here. Love, peace. Have a good weekend. Have fun with your family. Thank you. All right, guys, we'll see you soon. salesrevolution.com.